Hello and welcome, my friends. It's me, KP. I'm in my studio, the Moon and the Maker, home of ArtFoamies, and I'm here for. Oh, what am I here for? I'm here for ArtFoamy Fun, of course. Let me say hello to Catherine. Is here first. You get a gold star. Christina is here. Cindy, welcome. Anita is here. Megan. Sherry, it's nice to see you. I still have to talk to you, Sherry. We need to make a phone call. Anyway, Deb is here. Good afternoon. Linda, nice to see you, my friend. Ginger is here. Amy and Maxie Moon. All right. Wow. Well, I hope you had a great week. I missed you last week, and I want to apologize to everyone in my haste. I think I mentioned, excuse me, I think I mentioned in my group, in my Patreon group, that we were not having Art Foamy Fun, that I was going to be away for the weekend at a painting workshop. But I did not make any announcements. And so for any of you who were like, where did she go? I really apologize. It was just an oversight. And Maxie Moon was actually, she was actually well, I think she had just come back from Germany, but she was not back yet. So we sort of left everybody in the dark. I hope you didn't miss me too much. Ellen, welcome. Pam is here. Claire, welcome. Nice to see you. Oh my goodness. Okay. So, last week I was away, like I said, in St. Louis at a watercolor painting workshop with one of my all-time favorite watercolor all-time favorite painters, the incomparable Carol Carter. If you do not know who she is, please look her up. Amazing watercolorist. And I am fortunate enough to have studied under her for a couple years. And then whenever I get a chance, I try to still go and study with her because she is just magical with watercolor like no one else. And so it was really, really a lot of fun. And even though it was really fast, okay, it wasn't that relaxing because it was super quick. Kathy Whitney, hello. Mary Lynn, welcome. Linda, stay inside. Anyway, okay, so as you can imagine, I went and I painted, and it's a little bit different from my daily practice because we are painting a little bit larger than I normally paint, and we're painting just with watercolor from a reference photo from a demonstration. Okay, so I'm going to just share with you what I learned, and I am going to, as I always do, try to bring some of that knowledge and some of that excitement and some of the passion that I have for watercolor to Art Foamies. So that's what we're going to do this evening. We are going to be painting a couple different ways, and I'm going to talk to you about a couple different surfaces. We're just going to have a little fun, okay? Just for an hour approximately. And then anybody who is my patron, if you want to join me for a quick after party, we'll go over and Zoom for a bit. Okay. Thank you. Brianna is here. Heather is here. Welcome. Thank you. Yes, this is one of my favorite little summer tops. I got it at Marshall's many moons ago, and I love it. You'll probably see me wear it again. Anyway, I'm going to turn the camera around, and we're going to chat about inspiration, about watercolor. Oh, look, Orange Spiral Arts. This is Brianna's art. I hope that you all follow Brianna at Orange Spiral Arts. She and I are sort of like, I think we're artsy sisters because we do have a similar aesthetic. We both love watercolor puddles, and we both love like color wheels, and we both love Art Foamies. And anyway, so I did purchase this mug from Orange Spiral Arts, and I told you, Brianna, I drink from it all the time. And yes, it is hot here, and yes, it's 4 in the afternoon, and yes, I'm still drinking coffee. It's my probably like my one, like I would say maybe my worst bad habit. Okay, is constant coffee drinking. All right, Wendy is here. Okay, so wanted to just talk to you about a few new art foamies, because you all know that when I maybe in between weeks when I don't have maybe a new launch, or we're not having a pop-up shop or something like that, I generally like to come out with some self-indulgent art foamies from, from my archives. That I design all the time. I'm always designing art foamies. So every now and then I'm just like, you know what? I have to have these. I really want to come out with these. So I'll just kind of give you a little background, and we'll talk about the three new art foamies that are now available, and then we're going to do some art with them. Okay. So first of all, we are calling this, this is called Full Moon Rising. Okay. And it is based off of my rubber moon stamp that I created many moons ago. Okay. Back in 2012. Oops, I'm sorry. My autofocus is autofocusing. Hold on. Let me fix it real quick. Yes, if you need a new coffee mug. See, I really did need a new coffee mug. So I went shopping on Orange Spiral Art's website. So yes, a coffee spill ring AF. That would be so funny too. Oh my gosh. Okay, so I'm sorry, I shouldn't read the comments. I get very distracted. All right. Anyway, so in 2012, when I took over Rubber Moon, I designed this little rubber stamp. Little did I know that it would become our best-selling stamp of all time. I still love it so much. I ended up doing this rubber stamp in three different sizes. Okay, a small, a medium, and a large. Well, my friend Dana and her husband Jack, so my friends Jack and Dana, came for a visit a couple weeks ago, and she said to me, "Why don't you have your new moon in an art foamy?" She said, "You really need to have this." Is Dana, I'm talking about you. And Nancy Gray is here. Welcome, welcome. I hope I didn't miss saying hello to anyone. Anyway, Dana said you really need to have um, your new moon in an art foamy. Why don't you have it? So we made it right away in a larger size. So it is actually even larger than the largest rubber moon stamp. Okay, and it is a little bit different. Okay, not much. I do think it has the same sweet face, the same, definitely the same eyes and nose. I just simplified it a tiny bit to create an art foamy. All right, so here it is. And then this is actually done with the large rubber moon stamp, okay, just to show you what her face looks like. And then here, I did do it on a piece of aqua board, which we're going to do this together, okay? Super simple and just a fun project if you're wanting to, splash around in your paint and make something, you know, I don't know, something celestial maybe, or maybe you need a quick gift, or maybe you just want to paint. This could obviously go in your journal, or just on watercolor paper. I just wanted to experiment on aqua board, which we're going to do together tonight. Okay. Yes, the new moon rubber stamps are still available at rubbermoon.com. Okay, you can get all the sizes, and you can see, all of my rubber moon stamps are still available at rubbermoon.com. Now, I don't own Rubber Moon anymore. I sold Rubber Moon to my friend Sarah, owner of 100 Proof Press. I sold it in March of 21. But we do still work together, and we do some special projects together sometimes. And I still love my Rubber Moon. And so another reason I wanted to pull this out is because I want to see if I can sort of recreate this, with art foamies. And so I'm going to show you how we're going to maybe do that. This is a couple different techniques that I've done in the past, using my rubber stamps. Okay. And so I want to see if I can sort of convert that to art foamies. So we're going to play, or we're going to play around with that. Not that I couldn't also include rubber stamps. I am in no way am I suggesting that you can't still use your rubber stamps, but I just want to see if we can sort of make this technique. Yes, Orange Spiral Arts. Yes, it is 100 proof press lady, Sarah Vuxen. And we have been friends for many moons. And yes, 100 proof press bought Rubber Moon, and I'm so happy about it. Like I said, we do still collaborate, and I still obviously promote. I love still people to use Rubber Moon. I worked really, really hard to bring, the company to where it was, after almost 10 years of owning it. So, of course, I love to still see it thrive. Yes. And I think ArtFoamies is just, a wonderful addition. So, all right. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to play. The other two stamps that I came out with, again, sort of very self-indulgent, if you will. It is the little fairy moonlight, because I don't know how many of you remember this picture is something that I designed, and it was in one of the compositions for my calendar from 2022. I'll show it to you really quick because many of my past, pieces of artwork have inspired new things. And so this was a calendar page I did for my Color Eye Combo Challenge calendar that I did last year. And if you can see the little full moon girl, sort of little moon fairy, I wanted her in an ArtFoamy because, again, being very self-indulgent, I wanted to use it with this month's freebie. Okay, this is the freebie from August. So I think they go really well together, right? And we'll do a little something maybe with that. You can use her. I love this because you can use her just as is with the moon in the background, or of course, if you want to just outline her and use her, you can. And let me show you what I mean. As long as you have a clean, dry ArtFoamy, you should be able to just wet it a little bit, okay? And then you could take your graphite pencil or just one of your Derwent pencils, and you could just sort of outline it. So you're kind of, and it's not going to be a perfect outline, but it's going to be good enough. You know what I mean? And I'm hoping it's not too wet. So you see what I mean? You can just get her and you could cut her out if you want to, but it makes it sort of versatile. I like that. All right. So then last but not least, and again, I keep talking about these images that are sort of self-indulgent. And when I say that, it just means that I have images that I've created that I like, or that I think will make good ArtFoamies. And so, I'm just like, well, I want to use it. So I want to come out with it. So this is one that was a contender and it's called Lush Forest. And it is just sort of a scribbly, scratchy, very loose, bold lined sort of forest floor, if you will. And I do have a couple ideas for it. I really like just that it sort of takes up a lot of space. It's a 4x6, so it's a nice quick background for a card or a journal page. And I like it too because it's not exactly a repeat pattern, or it's not seamless, but you can stamp it multiple times and have it sort of go together to create a larger background, which I like. Yes. Oh, I need to mention, if you use summer 2023 at checkout, you will receive 20% off of your ArtFoamy order through the 20th at midnight. Okay, so through Monday, you get a 20% discount on your Art Foamies. All right, so that, my friends, is as good as, you know, the normally my patrons only get those kind of discounts, but we are offering it to you as an end of summer sale, and also just to get caught up on some of your favorite Art Foamies that you want to have before, you know, we're going to be doing some fun new things. We're going to have new Sarah Matthews coming out September 8th. We are going to be having a Halloween pop-up shop coming up soon. And we have a couple new artists to be announcing. So please be watching for all the excitement. We are very, very looking forward to this fall and all of the fun Art Foamy stuff coming. All right. Oh, Terry Moore, Mr. Moon will fix that for you, honey. Make sure, if you don't mind, please send us a message, okay? And I'll fix that for you, Terry. Terry Dye, welcome. And yes, better late than never, of course. All right, so a couple things before we move forward. I do want to just share with you a little bit about my thought process when it comes to painting, okay? I am going to share with you, now this is my paintings that I did over the weekend, just so you can, you know, I hope be inspired by some of the things that I'm inspired by. And this is my, these are based on Carol Carter's watercolors, okay? So they're half sheets, so these are about, 11 by 15 approximately. So we did a lotus, and if you can see here, I did use my Art Foamies in my painting. So that was kind of fun, a fun way to incorporate what I do with a little bit more serious painting, okay? And this really, it was so fun because it really got me thinking, you know, about how I would like to incorporate Art Foamies into my more serious compositions. So it was really a great and inspirational weekend. And oh my gosh, do I love watercolor painting? Yes, I do. Here again, we did, now these are just basically copies, if you will, of, you know, of the teacher, because she actually does a template and then she goes step by step. Yes, a Lotus Art Foamy would be awesome. And so then we did a calla lily, again, much larger than I'm used to working. But again, incorporated a little bit of Art Foamies into my background. All right. And I did vary a little bit from the teachers. I did this actually twice. And this one's not actually completed, because I was just doing some different color combinations and then I kind of ran out of time. So I do want to finish this one, and you know, I'll eventually maybe cut this into two. I don't know, but these are just for my own personal reference. Of course, they're not for sale. It is only for learning. And I have to say, I just learned so much, and it was just, you know, a really wonderful thing to kind of step back and to work in this sort of much different process, okay? Then when I got home, of course, I was really inspired and I wanted to try something. So I'm going to just share with you. Now, this is not finished artwork, but I just want you to see sort of my thought process and how I may play in the future. I also was asked, right after I came back from this workshop, I was asked to do a gallery show. So I'm next year in 2024. So I do want to get ready for that. And so I am exploring ideas because I want to be true to my own voice. Okay. So in being true to my own voice, I definitely will probably use or incorporate Art Foamies, okay, into my process. Now this is not done. This is this is not the composition, but I wanted to see about Art Foamies, staining the paper, about using some of my Art Foamies in ways more like a watercolor sort of application, you know. And so these two pieces are just experimental to see about, this is much too small, of course, for this size. But again, I've taken just some Art Foamies and stained my page first in order to work in layers. So that's sort of my thought process and why I wanted to come here. And then we're going to sort of do something in that vein, okay, along those lines, but we're going to use something smaller and something that takes watercolor nicely, and that is aqua board, okay? Aqua board is a hard panel, and it does have a watercolor ground sort of surface. Oh, thank you so much, Wendy. You're the best. And that is ditto for you, my friend. I always, am inspired by you and the things that you do. So I always love collaborating with you, and I appreciate your comment so much. All right. Anyway, so you'll get me all teary. Anyway, so first, I just want to show you a few art foamies that we're going to take here. I am using my star flower. This is the new Full Moon Rising, and it is the one inspired by my own new moon from Rubber Moon. And then we do have Dot to Dot, which is the little sort of pear-shaped, or the little, I don't know, the little droplet-shaped patch of dots, okay? And then we're going to take our watercolors. Actually, I need to grab a couple tubes of watercolor. Okay, right now, I just grabbed a few. Thank you so much, Amy. Thank you very much. So I just grabbed a few of my tube watercolors. I have mostly my core watercolors, but whatever you have. I have my Holbein, Royal Blue, my Phthalo Blue, green shade, my Manganese Blue, and a little indigo. I don't know. I'm just gonna sort of play here. Now, keep in mind, your aqua board is a very porous surface, okay? So it's going to grab quickly. If you want things to be able to move around a little bit better, then I recommend wetting your surface first, okay? But I'm not going to do that because I do want my first image, which is going to be my moon face. I want it to grab, okay? And I think that I am going to do it in this, I don't know, I'm just going to choose this royal blue. I'm going to squeeze, I just want to kind of show you what I'm going to do here. I'm going to squeeze a little. This is my porcelain palette. I'm going to squeeze out a little bit onto my palette, okay? And then I'm going to take a brush and, ooh, Patty, oh my gosh, that would be amazing. I think, and I'm not sure yet, I will keep you posted of the date, but it won't be probably until later in the summer of 24. So that would give everybody, time to plan something like that. We should plan something like that. And then we could do we could even do some kind of makey, either like after or something. I don't know. But I'm going to start letting ideas foment, okay? All right, so what I did, I went ahead and I sort of smushed out my royal blue into my palette. I am going to take my stamp. I'm going to spritz it with a little bit of water. Okay, just a couple little sprays of water. I don't want it too wet. Okay, just a little damp. And then I'm going to tap it onto my palette. You know what? I don't actually think it's getting enough. I know you can't see it. It's not getting enough pigment that way. So I am going to just get some on my Scrap Buddy. And I'm just going to apply it this way, okay? And I don't really want to work over my surface, so I'm going over here to the side. Yeah, so I will just tell you, my show is going to be at the Alliance Art Gallery in Hannibal, Missouri. No, it's in Hannibal, Missouri. Um, and so, which is about an hour north of me, which is about 2 hours north of St. Louis. All right, so here I have my watercolor all sort of tapped out onto my art foamy. Okay, and I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to put him, let's see, put her there. Well, I would love it, love, love, love it if we made, if we made like a special event. We'll be talking about it, of course. We have almost a full year to plan, so let's do it. You're already getting me all excited. All right, so there's my moon face, okay, and that will be the basis. The nice thing about it is, as you know, it's water soluble, so it will move with a little bit of water on a brush. But I think I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to put down a couple other colors. Oh, let's do a little, I'm going to get a little teal, a little cobalt teal here. And I do already have some on my palette. And I'm just going to take this sort of bigger oval wash brush, and I'm going to put a little watercolor here, across the top and the corners, just sort of get a little color down here, okay? And we can let it sort of squish out. Get a little watery, sort of smush some of that. Again, one thing, if you haven't worked on aqua board, it is very forgiving. It's very receptive. It will really move, but keep in mind that your colors, because it is so porous, are really going to sort of dull down. So if you want bright, vivid, darker, um, darker values, you're going to have to layer, okay? But right now, I'm not worried about that. Right now, I'm just getting some colors. I'm gonna, again, get my little star flower stamp here, and I'm going to tap it into my watercolor over here on my palette. And we're gonna put some of those down. And the other thing you can do that I do really like to experiment with as well. I'm going to clean this off and get it good and clean and hopefully dry. And I have to admit, I do have a little crusty acrylic on there, which is not probably the best, especially for this. So you want something kind of clean. I'm going to take my darker color again, my darker blue. And I'm going to try to sort of match that blue a little bit. Go back up here again. I don't care if I'm covering up. Some of the staining or some of those marks will still show up. And again, since I want to really build some of my values, it's okay if I layer up, okay? And because what I really want to do is get some dark color on here. I'm actually pulling in a couple different blues. This is my marine blue, which I really love. And this should be kind of clean and dry. Can you, Christina says, can you use inks or acrylic and paint on aquaboard? Yes, definitely. You definitely can. The thing about it is that it will really hold and grab your watercolor, but you can really do anything, um, yes. And it's a little bit textury, but that's okay. It's kind of reminiscent of a canvas. Again, I put down a little bit darker of a watercolor wash, and now I'm using a clean and dry art foamy to sort of pull up some of that color, because I want, again, layer, 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 right? So I can use clean, dry art foamies to pull color up, and then I can also put color back down. I could use my Derwent stick, if I want another sort of, um, another sort of look, if you will. So keep that in mind, okay? So I'm going to go here. I'm going to get my little bit bigger of a brush. Not bigger, but it's my long round, number 6 long round. Go ahead and grab my regular palette here. Catherine says, get a hotel and give us a block of rooms and space for making it. Not nakedness, makiness. Okay, we'll do it. We will, seriously, we really, really should. Let me get the date from, the person that is coordinating the show. And then I will do that. I really, really will. I think it would be a hoot. And I've been wanting to do something like that anyway. And I think 2024 will be a great time to do that. Okay, so here what I'm doing, and you can see sort of some of the watercolor striations. They're sort of mixing a little bit differently right on that surface, and that is okay. I love that. I can continue to sort of, work with that. I'm going to just take a similar shade of blue here and go in and start to open up that line a little. I don't necessarily want to cover all my white. In fact, I kind of wish I would have saved a little bit more of my white space, but because a little bit of that nice white surface showing through makes for a nice glow, especially when you're doing something, sort of celestial-y. And here I'll just darken some of these areas around. It's kind of nice because where I put where I removed the color from the stars, I can kind of go around and it almost looks a little like batik-y, or sort of just like a little bit resist, and so that looks kind of nice. And if you just build up some of your values around it, it will help them to sort of pop out even a little bit more. Right? So you see how that's kind of coming out. And then same thing down here. Although these stars, remember I stamped them in the sort of teal color. So if I want to, I can just take some of that teal and bump them up a little bit, just so they will show up a little bit better and maybe aren't quite, so pale back there. You want them to stand out just a little bit. So again, you're just using that initial stamping as sort of a little base layer, and to sort of just inform your space, your composition, right? So just by putting a tiny, tiny bit there on my brush and sort of going over it, I'm helping them to be a little more defined and to pop out and, sort of show up there. And then, of course, again, if I want to take another color, sort of similar, this is a nice lavender color. Maybe I want to go around, again, not really like tracing, but sort of just, putting a little little light layer of translucent color to help it pop out a little bit and show up, you know. I'll put a few little polka dots in the middle there. So do you can, and maybe I should be down a little bit more. Sorry about that. I'm so far away. Huh. Oh my gosh, Karen, yes. Oh, that's great. FoamyCon, I love it. We definitely should. All right, so here, you know, and again, if you feel like maybe that's not showing up that well, go to like one little shade darker. So that was a lavender. Here I have this sort of nice ultramarine blue, which sort of reads as a I don't know, darker lavender color. And you can, again, you know, layer up. So again, these are all things I'm thinking as I'm sort of, you know, getting in a mindset of like what kind of imagery, what I want to paint, what do I want to say with my art. And you know, I do feel like if I use art foamies in my paintings, that is really true to the spirit of my own work. It is what I work with, and I do feel that you know, it's also a very um what's the word, legitimate, you know, sort of art technique. So I'm very excited about the prospect of creating imagery, you know, specifically for a show like this, and to make some more sort of, and I'm using air quotes, but serious paintings, you know. Oops, I got that a little too wet. I was trying to stamp a darker, I want a darker star up there at the top. So I think I'm just going to brush on a little bit of my dark paint. Hopefully it's dry enough. I don't know if it is, but one thing, you know, sometimes hard to stamp on wet surface because it'll spread out. That seems okay though. We'll do one. All right, and if you see I got a little smush there that I don't really like, that is so easy to deal with. If you get some paint in an area that you don't want it, just take your thirsty brush and sort of move it. All right, so I'm going to go ahead now that I sort of have the background worked out a little bit, and I'm going to work on the face, okay? So, oops, I'm dropping stuff, sorry. Hold on. Okay, so I want to first of all go ahead and put in a little bit of shadows. I am going to, let's see, I kind of want my manganese. This is my manganese blue. And manganese blue I like because it is sort of like a cyan. It's a very mid-range blue, but it's clean. It's a cool blue. So I'm just going to go in. I'm going to do some of the shading on the face, underneath the nostrils. Let's go ahead and give her a little sort of smush on the end of her nose there. Remember too that the watercolor that we stamped with is still movable, right? So I can just use a little bit of water on my brush to still move that. Here I'm going to extend down her eyes a little bit, and I'm going to give a line underneath and on top. Little bit of just sort of bluish water, okay? And give her some cheeks there. Go around, she'd have a little bit of shadow here. And around. I'm going to take a little more straight color. We'll keep her cheeks sort of blue. Corners of her mouth sort of feeding into that, right? And up and around. Then I want to take a little bit darker. I'm going to actually go into my indigo, my very dark blue. So yes, Linda, that is true. I am hoping though for the August date. She said she thinks it could be August or November, and I said I would love August, please, if possible. So keep your fingers crossed. All right, so right now I'm taking that darker indigo and I'm lining the top eyelid, sort of like as if she had mascara. And I'm using it also to darken sort of the pupil around that little highlight area, okay? You can paint out that highlight if you want to and then add it back. That's up to you, but I am using some of that darkest shade of indigo, you know, just again to deepen those values. And again, in her eyebrows, and right here in her lips, and you can see what darkening those lines really does to bring it out even more, right? And you know, you just want to play with it to where you're comfortable, um, you know, and just where you think the highlights and the shadows should be. How much darker do you want your darks? You know, keeping in mind, and something that Carol Carter taught me many moons ago, and that is that color gets the credit, but value does the work. So your darker values are really what is going to make things pop, even though you might think it's, oh, it's beautiful colors. And yes, they might be beautiful colors, but it's really the darks and lights that are, you know, catching your eye, not necessarily the color. All right, so that, you know, a little thirsty brush to change things. And of course, if you want to add a little color, you know, I am the last person to say, oh, don't add any pink. Don't add any yellow. So now finally, I am going to take my little dot to dot stamp. I am going to be sort of tapping it into my darkest blues up in my palette. I want to tap off a little because I do want to use this to sort of give some darker value, some dimension, some texture. I did this many times with my little burst stamp, if you all recall that. Now this is called dot to dot, and you can use it, you know, for just a smattering of dots here and there, or you can use the more bulbous end to really tap on some color. And you know, the nice thing about it is, especially with the watercolor, it's sort of, I don't know, meshes into itself a little bit. Some of it will even actually disappear. If you do it on more like wet, it will really sort of just, you know, spread out. But I do think it is a nice way to quickly get more value and more interest in your paintings, right? Can definitely use this with, you know, with any, it doesn't have to be watercolor. And you could use it with your Derwent sticks and color right on it, or you can use it with acrylics, you know. The cheek color is manganese blue, and it's very, very watered down, okay? It's this manganese blue. And I think that Terry asked what the star is, excuse me, is called Star Flowers. And it should be in my collection, the KP. And then, you know what, I'm going to spray this with a little rubbing alcohol, just a little bit, and see if I can, I don't know, if it, I was going to see if it would remove anything, and it might, just a little bit. You're maybe not seeing it quite yet. Yeah, you will see that pull a little of the color from there. I just wanted it to be a little more speckly. I do feel like I would like a little more color in here, so I probably am going to, oh, maybe a little yellow right on my starflower. I feel like I want just a little bit of yellow. No, I don't love that, so let's move that. Let's put it, I'm going to try adding it just a little bit different way. Maybe some pink too. I don't know. I feel like the galaxy really needs to just be brightened up just a little bit. So let's see. Yeah, kind of like that. And then let's get a little pink in there too. Remember, if you don't love it, I mean, I wanted a little of that pink, but I didn't want it so strong. So now I'm just pulling it back with a little bit of water so that you'll just see the slightest hint of that in there, okay? And I do like that yellow there. I'm gonna blot it just a bit. A paper towel, maybe. Oh, and you know, I'm looking in the monitor. What I see, I think I want to pull in a little of this violet color. It sort of goes along with what I stamped. Let's put a little on her face. You want some unity and variety, right? So let's do that. This is a bright violet color, but it's very sort of, it's really a soft color, so it's easy to sort of manipulate like that. And then finally, last but not least, for this, and normally I don't feel, you know, that it always needs words. I mean, I do think that we could definitely stamp a word on here, or you know, some kind of saying. Some of the new word art foamies would be nice. Let's see. Or maybe just a word from the Art Foamy poetry set. I don't know. Let's see. We'll just try this. I'm going to just go ahead with it. All right. And I'm going to use, actually, so I'm going to use, one thing I do want to make sure is that it is dry. So normally I want you to know I do not like to blow dry my watercolors, but for this I'm going to. And then I think I'm going to go ahead and use a Derwent stick to apply the color for, I have a couple nice dark blues. I think I'm going to try that. Again, wet it just a little bit with my spritzer, and then I'm going to take this spritz it one more time and hope for the best. All right, my friends. So I will be sort of experimenting with this stuff. Oh, a little, I don't know. It's not bad. It might be a little bit lighter than I hoped. So I would either have to try to overstamp. A couple ways I could handle that is to try my best to overstamp it. Okay. If I still feel like it's too light, or I could also try to white some of that out by taking my thirsty brush and pulling some of that out and restamping it. I think that's what I'm going to just do. Okay, we're going to just, so you get to see how you might erase, right? It's not bad. It wasn't too horrible, but I think it could just be a little darker. So hopefully it'll be okay. All right, I'm just going to blot. And I didn't honestly get it out as good as I could. I could spend a little more time on that, and I could really, you know, pull that color out so that you don't have that. But I think I'll be able to overstamp it enough to where it'll be okay. And this time, I think I'll use a darker ink. So let's just try, I'll try my blue black Moonlight Duo. Also, let me dry this a little bit better. And hopefully that's dry enough. It won't work very well if it's not dry, okay? And hopefully this will be dark enough. All right, fingers crossed. I like it, you know, it's always a chance I take that it might end up messed up, but I always hope that stuff will work out and look okay when I'm done. Yay. And gosh, I did get over that pretty well. If you can see that, overstamped really nicely. So I'm very tickled with this piece. One thing I may do is to sort of, again, take some of this same color and just, I don't know, do a little bit more to bump this up so that some of the color around the quote is just a little bit darker so that it sort of frames it, you know, a little bit. Or I possibly could also just, you know, even take some of the, what am I trying to say? Some of those dots on my little dot to dot stamp and do some things to sort of pull through that. Does that make sense? And I think that would kind of help bring a little bit of attention to it there. Anyway, I'll quit fussing with it. I'm pretty happy with it all in all. You know, it's something, obviously, if I'm here working in my studio, playing with this, I could, you know, fuss with it for hours. I also definitely would like to try this on a larger scale. So be sort of watching, because I will share some of my process as I begin to create pieces for, you know, for the said show, or at least in getting ready for them. So you know, I love nothing more than sharing Makeys and ArtFoamies. So, like I said, if I find success with this, I definitely will, you know, be here sharing it with all of you. So, I could just keep fussing with this for hours. I think I'll leave it alone now. It's pretty good. So I don't know. I think it needs a few more little white dots, to be honest. And if I wanted to accomplish that, what I would do is take and use a little bit of white gouache. Now you could use white watercolor, but white watercolor will have a tendency to you know, to really sort of dry, light and sort of milky. But if you use regular gouache, it's a little bit brighter and will stay, you know, more opaque like that. So just a few. Now this is not the same as gesso. Okay, this is basically an opaque watercolor, but I love to add little additions of it to sort of, you know, make things pop a little bit more again. And I think that I'm going to call that a makey, my friends. I hope that you get to get out your ArtFoamies and your watercolors, and you get to have as much fun as I just did. Anyway, that's it. That's all I have for you tonight. I hope that you will come over and join me in Patreon. We're going to continue sort of this trajectory and do a similar project using now Clayboard. Okay, so if you're interested in seeing a similar process, you know, it's a similar process, but it's using different materials. We're going to use basically the same stamps, and we're going to try to make it, you know, look a little more inky and less watery. I hope that makes sense. Anyway, that's the plan for our after party. So I hope you'll jump over there and join us. As usual, I thank you so much for spending some of your Friday evening with me. And I hope you have a great weekend. And you know the deal. Stay safe, stay sane, stay makey. Shop at artfoamies.com. If you do, make sure that you use the code SUMMER2023 for 20% off through Monday. All right. Thank you so much, my friends. Mwah. Have a great weekend, and I'll see you real soon.